Get fucking hyped.
I said I could be part of the team.
Channel of gods.
Yeah, you got it, bro. It's there. It's there. It's there. It's there. It's there. It's there. What's up, guys? Jason here with the Table Monkeys. So as we've talked about reference points and all this craziness with figuring out a plan and a schedule and, you know, making sure it's not just a big explosion of whatever, we're going to do some tests to establish some numbers to figure out where we stand with some of these lifts. So first one today is going to be our riser.
Yeah, so we're going to be testing our static radial deviation strength today, and we're going to do this in the hammer curl position. Jason's just explaining that we're keeping our elbow at 90 degrees, so the force from our hand to the ground is in a straight line, and all the tension is in all the right places, and we're not taking advantage of our shoulder getting involved, right?
Yeah, or any biomechanical advantages that we might be getting.
Yeah.
But the other thing we're also going to do, because it's a test and we're going to be going really heavy, we don't want to use the strap through our hand the way that we would train it. So the way we normally train it is through our hand, so there's a lot of rotational force on a radial deviation. But when we test it, we want to minimize that rotational force. So we're just using a loop over the fingers, the same place that we would train it, but a little bit less rotational force, so it's a little safer.
Yeah, and it also takes the grip element out of it as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's specifically the limiting factor 100% is your radial deviation in this lift.
Exactly. And so we're just warming up here, and you're about to see me attempt 52.5 pounds with my left arm. I could feel my radial deviation starting to go, and I decided not to push it. I ended up getting on my right. But from then on, I was like, better switch lifts.
Yeah, it's time to switch to the next lift.
So putting the strap on this way and doing a static riser puts more stress on my radial deviation. So it's more specific to out of the strap arm wrestling, and it's a weaker lift. So once I reach my max on this, which I'm calling 50 for my left and 52.5 for my right, now I'm switching over to having a strap like this, so the strap is cutting through my hand. There's less stress on my radial deviation, and it's much more like strap arm wrestling.
Yeah, exactly, which is why we wanted to test both, because outside of the strap, the riser is definitely the limiting factor to your peak, to being able to establish height in the match. But once you put the strap on, the game changes, and being able to pull through the center of your hand with the strap is really how you create that posting strength and that back pressure, which then becomes the way that you establish height in a match once the strap's on.
Yeah, exactly. And it was interesting to note the differences that we had between both lifts and how different they were from each other.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So like just on a percentage base, I was almost 70% stronger in the strap, so to speak, than out of the strap, where you were about 40% stronger.
Yeah, exactly. And then so outside of the strap, you were
20% stronger than you.
Yeah.
And inside the strap, I was 40% stronger than you.
Exactly. So it's interesting to know how that relates to how we stack up on the table.
Yeah.
Like outside of the strap, it's a little bit more even. I kind of have a chance in terms of maintaining height.
Yeah.
Not so much the other vectors, but
getting position and stuff, right, for sure.
Yeah, but then inside the strap, it's a whole different ball game.
Changes. Yeah, and I feel that too. Like you feel like more to deal with outside of the strap, and then once we put the strap on, it feels just comfortable. Like I don't have to worry about it.
But you feel like that with most people, right?
Yeah, and most people note that. Most people say like, "Oh shit!" Once you put the strap on, it's like a different animal. And I think that's really interesting to note. And I think that if if you took two arm wrestlers who were much more equal in strength, and you have one guy who's way better out of the strap and one guy who's way better in the strap, and then test these vectors, I bet you the percentages work out like that, where the guy that's better outside of the strap has a better riser by a few percent, and the guy that's better in the strap has a better post than by a few percent.
Yeah, and that's what creates interesting matchups.
Yeah, exactly, is the fact that there's so many different vectors, and a little bit of variance in one or the other, and they all interact with each other, is going to make for a completely different match and fight.
Yeah, inside of the strap, outside of the strap, it all can vary, right?
Yeah, and it all changes based on these. So that's why we want to do these tests, is to get an idea of where we stand with some of these vectors, and then start to identify weaknesses and things we need to work on.
Yeah. So speaking of other vectors, we're about to test our max pronation static hold as well.
Yeah.
And we didn't need to warm up too much before getting right into this. So we got right into the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and we're doing the same idea here with this lift where it's pronation, and we are holding it for 5 seconds. Again, we like the 5-second holds because it just allows us to test pretty close to a 1 RM without too much risk for injury. And then this is going to be the last vector that we test today. We've got, I guess, 3 more vectors, but cup we're going to test in 2 different ways.
Yeah, we'll be testing that next week, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and we're doing all these tests right now because we've got some super matches coming out. If you heard our last Table Talks episode, you would have heard about that, but we both got some big super matches coming up. So
yeah, right in the Backyard Arm Wrestling League.
Yeah, that's the new BAL, backyard BYAL, Backyard Arm Wrestling League.
Yeah.
But the point being is that we're both at a really fatigued state right now. So we wanted to get an idea of what these numbers are when we're in the middle of months of volume and tons of table time as we've been putting in.
Yep.
And then after these super matches, shortly after them, when we're at a much less fatigued state, ready to start our next block of training, we'll test again. And knowing the percentage difference there, I think, is going to be really helpful in gauging where we're at moving forward.
Yeah, and creating new programs and continuing to get stronger. But that's going to be it for this video.
Stronger.
If you like the video, please like the video.
Leave feedback in the comments. Subscribe for new videos each week. And
monkeys out.
Monkeys out.
Whenever you're ready. Here we fucking go. Two, 3, 4, 5. Fuck yeah. 100 pounds.